Afternoon, everyone. I, Sneha, on behalf of NEN and Vadhwani, would like to invite you all for this webinar and also introduce our expert. Shashank ND is a co-founder and CEO of Practo Technology, an online practice management software used by dental, medical, and wellness clinics to communicate with their patients, maintain patient records, and manage the day-to-day operations of the clinic. Currently, Practo is a 15-member team with offices in Bangalore, Mumbai, and Delhi. Before I hand over the floor to Shashank, a quick note to all our attendees. You will all be on mute. You may ask questions by typing in the panel provided. Our expert will answer the questions after his presentation. Over to you, Shashank.
Thank you. Very good afternoon. So that was a pretty detailed introduction. So let me just give you about Practo and our function so far. So Practo was essentially started in Practo was founded in 2008. It was done through Abhinav and myself. We were studying in a final year at NIT Surat. That's when we started off Practo. Again, a completely bootstrap venture. And today we are proud to let you know that we are about 80 people strong and with an average age of about 25. So that's a little updated information about Practo. We are about a team of 80, and today's presentation, today's webinar about what is entrepreneurship selling would be easy for me, since most of the people in our team, if it's a quick snapshot of a small section of our team right now, more than 50% and above are into sales. So sales being a very core asset of a company, I would love to share my learnings, mistakes, as well as some of the tricks that we used to scale up our sales at Practo. Before I kind of get into what is entrepreneurial sales and what you should do and not do as early stage founders, I will just take you through a little bit about what Practo has done so that you can take my advice in its context. So I will let you know what Practo has accomplished in the last 3 years, and let you know that please do follow my advice or my learn from my insights with this context in mind. So first of all, Practo is a leading online software for doctors. It's India's leading online software for doctors, so it's India specific. The second part about Practo is that it's the leading SaaS provider to the SME segment. SaaS stands for Software as a Service, and SME is Small Medium Enterprises. So we essentially sell online software to doctors or to the small scale industries on a subscription basis, which means that we don't sell at one time, we sell for a particular duration. For example, our product is sold at 1,000 rupees per month. Which means that doctors pay 1,000 rupees every month to use our product. So this is the context. It's an India-based solution software. So we actually do sales right now only in India. It's an online software. The business model is to sell subscriptions to the medium and small scale enterprises. This is a fascinating industry which is opening up in India today. India's major chunk of its innovation and growth is coming from the SME segment. So we are very excited to be one of the early players in this game, in this particular segment, and hope this advice about this particular segment helps more startups in India come up. A few numbers about what we have done so far. We, in the last four years, since we started in 2008, have scaled up our sales to about 100 cities in India. We have customers in more than 100 plus cities in India. 4,000 plus practices are approximately paying customers of ours, about 20,000 doctors and 2 million patients using our particular solution today. It does very simple things like maintaining appointments, keeping healthcare records in check. So this was a small snippet about what Practo does, so that my advice to you on how sales should happen in a startup or entrepreneurial selling should happen is taken in the context. We are we're a startup in India for the last 4 years, selling in India, selling the offline medium with online products to the SME segment. So these are the key words I would like you to remember as I explain about how our journey of selling has been so far. So starting off with the first slide, this has been one of our dramatic learnings in the last 4 years. The biggest problem in startups is not knowing what to concentrate on. These so many webinars happening, so many online materials happening, so much distraction all around. It is very difficult to concentrate on the things which will actually help your startup grow. So this is the slide which has helped us, avoid all distractions. This has been one of the turning points of our startup when I came across this insight about, I think it was in 2009 when after 1 year starting up, that we decided to only concentrate on 2 things. There was either it was coding or building the product and selling or making revenues. Nothing else. No marketing, no fundraising, no networking, no all those things are all distractions for you. So the 2 most important things are coding and selling. This was an insight which I gathered about 2009 and it has helped me ever since. So anything which I do which is not about coding and selling, I stay away from it. In India, one of the biggest problems has been that sales has always been looked upon negatively. It has always been a very negative approach to sales because of the fact that we have a 1 billion population and most of the people here are salespeople in India. This is not the same in the US, where sales is looked upon as a profession. It is looked upon very, with respect. In India, engineering is looked upon with more respect, whereas sales are not. Salespeople are generally looked down upon. Even though some of the salespeople in India are paid much more than engineers, it is just the fact that making money or being in the trade is looked upon very badly in India, that sales is not given due credit. This is where I would like you to make a differentiation. Sales is the heart of a startup. Sales is more than 50% of what is important in a startup. So if you're starting up or if you already started up, please allocate at least 50 to 80% of your time just doing sales. The first point I would put out while doing entrepreneurial selling is to first do it yourself. Do not outsource this. Do not hire somebody to do this. You have to acquire the first 100 customers yourself. To the fact that today we have more than one product. We have approximately about 3 to 4 products in our portfolio. Even though we have 3 to 4 products, every single new product that we launch, I personally meet the first 100 customers of that particular product to make sure that I know how this product is sold. This is paramount for you to gain the respect of your team, for you to gain the respect of the customers, and for you to have a better understanding of how the most important thing in your startup is going to turn out. You must do startup. You must do sales yourself. This is how I did sales. So these were my best friends. While in college, I took out my vehicle and I used to visit doctors in my final year of college on my bicycle. That's the snapshot of my vehicle. And this was a coffee day that I used to usually hang out in between meetings. So this is how sales is done. Sales is done on the road. You have to do it yourself. You have to acquire those first 50 to 100 customers yourself, and you have to do it, using a vehicle and cafe coffee day. The one thing I'm not mentioned here, which is again a very important aspect, is having really durable shoes. My shoes have traveled with me to more than 10-15 cities on roads, tracks, every single place. It is a fantastic feeling to travel across the country, meeting customers, and getting them to adopt your product. So the first, apart from the fact that sales and coding is the most important thing, I would let you know is the fact to do it yourself first. The second thing, once you accomplish this fact of you yourself being able to sell the product that you have created, the second part of the jigsaw is to identify the core members of your team who will be able to take up this role of selling. Yes, you have to identify people who will be able to sell and make them join your core team. To give you a small example of our team, our initial team was about 7-8 people. So me and Abhinav started this company. So you can see about 8 people in this, 9 people in this particular photograph. Out of these 9 people, 5 people were sales. And today, each one of those 5 members handles a territory of ours. One person is taking care of the entire West, handling offices in Pune, Bombay, Gujarat, Goa, everywhere. We have one person handling the entire North, all the states from Jammu Kashmir to Madhya Pradesh. We have one person in the entire South, all the Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, and one person handling East. What is very important is your initial core team, right, is the team that will allow you to learn. These people grew up with us through the grassroots, right? So once you do the sales yourself, identify people who will be able to take it forward. You have to give it to them. And this is a very critical juncture where you should not basically hire people who are below qualification. These are usually people who are much more qualified than to just do sales, right? All these people are our own age group who are engineers who came out of the colleges, but doing sales with them became easy after a certain point of time. But it's very important that we take these people, because these are the people who will handle teams of 50s and 60s and hundreds of people down the line. So the second lesson while doing sales initially is to identify people who can run sales for you down the future. This is what we did. These were the 2 important things. First, do it yourself. Second, identify co-members in your team who can do sales. The third part, now that you have, you know who should do it, when you should do it, and how you should grow it, I'll talk to you more about what is that makes entrepreneurship sales easy. Usually, entrepreneurship means innovation. So you essentially will be selling concept-based products, meaning products which will disrupt the market. Usually, you'll be selling products and services which do not exist today. So this is a challenge as well as a pleasure to do. The pleasure is in the fact that you're going to be introducing something new to the market, which nobody else has. That is what is entrepreneurship. But the challenge being that it's a concept, right? And to sell a new concept is a very difficult task. So the best way to go about this is to make sure that at every point you measure it. For example, when we sold Practo, we used to have a dashboard which told us very clearly who are the customers using the product, who are the trial users who are using the product. Hence, we based our sales not based on the sales skill, but more on the basis of the usage of a product, the utility of a product. So it is very important to make sales yourself by building tools and having these value-based sales mechanisms. I'll also give you a small snippet of an example regarding this particular tip. Usually in sales, sales is usually done by giving major discounts. Sales is done by by giving incentives to salespeople. This is the wrong way to go about it. You should make sure that if your product is valued or you priced your product at, let's say, 100 rupees, you do not give any discounts. Especially if you're selling to the consumers. You should make sure that you restrict yourself with these value-based sales propositions, which will make it easier for you to sell. One more example is that we so far in the last 4 years have acquired thousands and thousands of customers, but we have never ever given a discount to a single customer of ours. We have never ever, even the oldest ones, we never gave them a discount. The idea behind this is to make sure that it's easy for your salespeople, right? The time you start negotiating for a discount, it becomes very difficult to sell. Hence, this is one trick, not giving discounts. The second trick is to give a trial or a demo of the product. What happens with the trial and a demo is that it truly incentivizes the user to buy the product, not based on your salesmanship, but based on the value of the product. So these are some of the ways in which you can provide a trial, measure the usage during the trial or the demo, and then go ahead and make the final sale. So the idea behind the third point, why I have this third point in here, is to let you know that you have to identify a science behind how you sell. It cannot be a very chaotic mechanism. You have to find out a science, a repeatability. That's the word we use. The repeatability behind selling. So you need to understand how you go about. Let's say you're even selling to one person. How is that whole mechanism happening? How can can you make it easier for you to, for yourself to sell? Few of my suggestions are: one, always provide a demo or a trial of your product. Two, measure the usage of the particular trial or a demo of the product. If the user is using your trial or a demo, it makes it much more easier for you to convince him about the particular product. Three, make strict rules, make sales commandments, right? At Practo, we have sales commandments which make it very easy for us to sell. For example, one of the commandments is no discounts. So there's no negotiations on any of the prices, right? So these are the three things which you should definitely follow, and you will be able to make sales much more easier and a more fun thing at your startup. I have spent some time on this because this is one of the key things which has helped us grow. The fourth and an important part which I have noticed is that a lot of startups are very, even we were bootstrapped. We did not have any money when we started off. But as your business grows, you have to look to expand. India is a beautiful country. It has a lot of good cities: Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad, Kolkata, Pune. So you can find a lot of business, selling in India by expanding outside Bangalore or any of your home locations. I find it a big hurdle for people to do this. We did this within 3 months of starting. We just went to Chennai, started selling there. We went to Bombay, started selling there. We went to Delhi, started selling there. Even we started selling in 4 cities without raising any funding of our own, right? So it will give your startup the next edge by making sure that you can expand to other cities and expand to other places. This is the one that gave us a big jump. All right. I hope that you understood some of my points here. Again, I'll repeat the fact that the context in which I'm talking to you of entrepreneurship sales is: 1, it's offline sales; 2, sales in India; 3, sales of online products. This is the context which I'm saying. But if you take the gist or the essence of all the advice, it could be applied to even online sales, even sales without having any people involved. The next part is a very interesting slide. The initial pinch is always very hurtful. It took us about 21 months to acquire our first 1,000 centers, right? 21 months, and since then the whole process has become a lot more easier for us. It was only last year that I can't believe that it was just last year when we reached 1,000 centers, and today we are close to 10,000 centers. And as you can see, this progression becomes easier and easier as you do more. So don't give up. The initial part is the most hardest part of doing sales. It's the most difficult part. So always realize that the pace is going to become 5 times, 6 times, 10 times more faster. Today we add 1,000 centers in less than 30 days. That's more than 21 times faster than the first time we added, right? So once your concept or once your innovation is well understood by the market and it's well understood by the target market class, it will spread faster. One of the other things which helps in ramping up sales is that you should understand that initial entrepreneurial selling is not about selling to thousands and thousands of customers. You have to just make sure that the concept is correct. You have to make sure that you reach those first 100 customers. You have to make sure that you reach those first few hundreds of customers, and then a lot of help comes by your way, right? So venture capital is one of the best ways to scale up your sales. Once you find out the model, so it was me and my core team of sales members, which are about 4 people totally, who understood the science behind selling. We first understood the science behind selling, and then we raised capital last year to scale up that whole process. So once you make the whole process science, you'll be able to raise capital, and I'll just show you a quick slide. We raised capital last year, and you can see suddenly there's a jump in the sales process, right? So understand that you can scale the sales later on by You can always scale the sales later on by raising venture capital, and so venture capital is made primarily for scaling sales. So it is very important for you in the initial period to do the sales yourself, build a team around it who can do who grow in the grassroots, and then you measure it and make it a science of how to sell, expand yourself, and show to the investor that you can actually sell this product without any investment whatsoever nature. They will come behind you and they will pump in a lot of money to scale your sales. And this is how sales can be scaled. One of the most difficult, a lot of startups I speak to, one of the most difficult aspects in sales is enterprise sales. Now these are few of the enterprise customers we have. Enterprise essentially means selling not to one individual but to a but to a much larger organization. I find enterprise sales very difficult. Okay, so please understand that sales has two aspects to it. One is the B2C aspect to it, and another one is the B2B aspect to it. The B2C is essentially Flipkart, right? How Flipkart makes sales. They online, the best way to do it. In the B2B, there are two types of sales in B2B: the SME market and the enterprise market. The SME market is what we are leading into, where we meet individual doctors. There are lakhs of them. The enterprise market, however, are much bigger organizations who do, the way we define it is, the customers who are anywhere between 1 lakh in revenue to about 10 crores in revenue are in the SME segment. Anybody doing about 10 crores in revenue annually is in the enterprise segment. And selling to the enterprise is a very, very difficult task. It makes a lot of money, but you have to be extremely skilled to do this particular job. And if you're coming out of a college or you're in less than your 30s and you have no sales experience before this, I would recommend you not starting anything that involves enterprise sales. Enterprise sales is a painstaking mechanism and it's very, very difficult. So one of the advices would be to target either B2C market or currently the fastest growing segment, which is the SME market. The enterprise market, I would definitely request you to take more help before starting off venturing into enterprise sales. We have been able to kind of expand our sales, and as you can see the progression. We have been able to open up offices in a lot of locations: Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad, Kolkata. The reason for this particular slide is to let you know that these are wonderful opportunities, where sales can happen in India. There are so many good cities where you can scale up your sales and find a lot of customers in. So we did half of these cities we did 4 cities without any external funding. So it's very much possible. So the gist of my entrepreneurial sales feedback to you is: 1, always start doing it yourself. 2, find initially people whom you can, after you do it yourself, pass on the learnings to. 3, build sales commandments of your own. Okay, make sales commandments. 4, make sure that you scale across multiple cities. It makes it much more easier. It's one of the tricks to doing things. And scaling sales will only happen with venture capital and money. So don't worry about scaling sales without that. So this is basically what I wanted to cover. I have no idea about who the audience is, as in whether they have already done sales before or whether they're just starting off or are they students. So I would love to hear more from you guys, and I would love to answer some questions of yours which can be more direct in nature.
Yes, Shashank, thank you so much for that interesting session. That was the last question of the Q&A session. And thank you to all our attendees for participating in the webinar. We are glad that the questions kept coming in, but due to lack of time, we are unable to answer all. Please do send in your feedback and suggestions to us at eclub@nenglobal.org. Also, if you found the session interesting, feel free to blog or post about it. The recorded version of the webinar will be available on our website, eclub.nenonline.org, by tomorrow. Our next webinar will be held on June 20th from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. by Durai Todla of iMorph on Do Startups Need Consultants. We look forward to your participation. Thank you once again and have a nice evening.